Members of the American Society for Gastrointestinal Endoscopy, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this has arguably been one of the most tumultuous years in the practice of gastrointestinal endoscopy. COVID-19 has infiltrated every fiber of our lives. We watched as our society essentially shuttered itself as we prepared for the worst, as a virus we knew very little about began encroaching upon our world. The immediacy of caring for those patients stricken with this virus has become the focus of our professional existence. As such, elective procedures and face-to-face clinic visits have become rarefied. As this public health crisis enveloped us, there was a stunning lack of knowledge to help our members go forward in their practice. A Friday afternoon phone call with Mark Puchapin, President of the ASGE, and myself soon changed this. Within 72 hours, a multi-society guidance document was not only created, but was published online. From there, ASGE minted a rapid communications group, which ultimately became the Coronavirus Response Management Team. From this, a series of weekly webinars on everything from personal protective equipment and practice economics to burnout was orchestrated. Our journal, Gastrointestinal Endoscopy, was able to provide rapid reviews and online publication of manuscripts within 72 hours. Gastroenterologists around the world clamored for answers, advice, and social media connectivity, and the ASGE delivered in historic fashion. There was also a successful degree of activism in our approach. As you all know, the clamor for appropriate personal protective equipment was universal. The ASGE and our sister societies are among the first U.S. professional medical societies to recommend N95 mask use through our guidance statements. This made a difference as a myriad of other societies joined the bandwagon. ASGE formed a coronavirus response management team, which rapidly became the country's go-to source for everything gastrointestinal endoscopy and COVID-19. A web page was developed which updated members nearly on a daily basis with key articles that were fast-tracked within 48 to 72 hours and were published electronically on the GIE website in an effort to get the science to the practice. A series of webinars coined COVID-19 Conversations were held. In addition, a COVID-19 practice roundtable chaired by Dr. J Vargo was used to provide dialogue on practice management during this rocky time. A journal scan was started on everything COVID in endoscopy, which was led by Doug Rex and Klaus Mergener. In addition, COVID-19 update podcasts have also become a staple of information that the ASGE has supplied to its members. We watched the resiliency of our profession come to the forefront. Groups around the country rescheduled elective procedures and tended to those who had the most urgent indications for endoscopic intervention. Virtual visits were more than just a curiosity and became the mainstay of clinical interaction and communication with our patients. Those of us who perhaps dabbled in the universal precautions realized the seriousness following that policy to the letter of the law. I dare say that N95 masks are now the coin of the realm in terms of personal protective equipment. It is highly unlikely that we will see them fade into the past. Unfortunately, there were disappointments along the way. Digestive Disease Week, with all of its science, education, and recognition, simply sublimated. It was definitely the right thing to cancel the meeting. I must admit personal pangs of sadness over the loss of personal touch programming, such as the Crystal Awards. However, in any crisis situation, opportunities present themselves. The model for delivering education has evolved from the static conference room-based lecture and discussion model to web-based on-demand products. Again, your ASGE has answered by utilizing its newfound strengths in the communication and delivery of virtual educational bandwidth via GI Leap. We will see in the next few months programming that will hopefully fill the void left by a world without DDW. Kudos to our ASGE Secretary Brett Peterson and our ASGE staff for leading this effort in a stellar fashion. And now, on to some of the other highlights that the ASGE has been involved in. ABIM maintenance of certification remains a work in progress. Many of us in membership would like to see the dissolution of periodic, high-stakes examinations, which would be replaced with a continuous journey of learning that would more accurately reflect the practice of gastroenterology and would provide frequent and smaller assessment experiences along the way. We and our sister GI societies are continuing to work diligently with the ABIM. ASGE held an infection control and reprocessing summit in December. This faculty included a who's who in the field of endoscope reprocessing, as well as all of the corporate partners who are involved in this mission-critical area. In addition, representatives of the FDA were also present. This conference was successful on many levels, one of them being the realization that the reprocessing protocols were indeed complicated, and as much of the human element involved in the process needed to be removed as possible. We also were introduced to several new avenues of technology in terms of scope reprocessing, as well as design changes that will reduce the risk of retained biomaterial within the scope itself. ASGE essentially blue-screened its approach to training and education by revamping its committee structure to better deliver the educational and training programming that are needed in this modern and ever-changing environment. In my opinion, the days of conference-based destination meetings are waning and are being replaced with online content that is available 24/7. ASGE's online training and educational portfolio, which is contained on our website platform known as GI Leap, has continued to build its content. An example of this is the COVID resources on the ASGE website. As mentioned previously, key ASG content that could not be presented at Digestive Disease Week will also find its way to you through GI Leap, as well as conducting our annual postgraduate course through a combination of pre-recorded presentations as well as online streaming. Another first for the Society was the initiation of EUS course for the mid-career practitioner. From a superficial standpoint, this was seen to be iconoclastic, but the Society, under the vision of past President Kieran Woods, realized the need for EUS expertise in many areas of the country where it did not exist. This course provides didactic as well as true hands-on training in order to ensure competency. It is also my pleasure to introduce the designation of Master of the American Society for Gastrointestinal Endoscopy. The MASGE designation reflects a career of activity within ASGE for those who are clinicians, educators, and researchers. The inaugural class of MASGE members will be announced soon. ASGE remains fervently committed to developing tomorrow's leaders in gastrointestinal endoscopy. Both of our leadership academies, GI Organizational Leadership Development, or GOLD, and Leadership Education and Development, LEAD, which has been present since 2014, remain vital parts of the ASGE's commitment to the future. Traditional strengths including advocacy, practice management, public policy, and coding and reimbursement are also vibrant. I would like to thank my mentors who over the years have guided me along my chosen path. This includes Mike Sivak, Roy Ferguson, Joel Richter, Greg Zuccaro, and Gary Falk. My role models, Glenn Lehman, CJ Gostow, and Ken McQuaid, played indispensable roles that they are probably not even aware of. The friendships I have been blessed with over the years through ASGE are too numerous to count and are indeed cherished. I must recognize Steve Amundowitz, who has shared a parallel trajectory with me. We met one night as strangers over dinner and left that meal as great friends. Thank you for your sage advice throughout the years. I hope that we get to wet some lines once this COVID-19 haze clears. I would also like to thank my partners at the Cleveland Clinic who provided me so much support over the past year. I would also like to thank the ASGE staff. You will find no finer group of dedicated and hardworking individuals than those who walk the hallowed halls of the IT&T Center. My heartfelt thanks to my governing board. I have been blessed with a phenomenal group of incredibly talented and dedicated individuals on this board who helped guide this organization in so many ways. I would be remiss if I did not thank my family, who have been my rock and source of support. First, I would like to thank my mother and father, who worked hard to give me an opportunity. My mother is a registered nurse and instilled in me the interest in medicine. My father never had the opportunity to go to college. I learned from him dedication, work ethic, and a never say never attitude that has stood me well over the course of my career. To my 3 sons, John, Kevin, and Matthew, thank you for your patience for all those nights and weekends when your father was at a meeting, conducting research, writing papers, or administrating a department or enterprise endoscopy operations. To my wife, Mary, who is the love of my life, my sounding board, my coach, confessor, and my unwavering North Star along this journey. I love you and can never thank you enough. In closing, another eventful year has come and gone. The ASGE remains steadfast and resolute as the world's premier organization for everything endoscopy. I am truly excited about the expanding horizons of this organization as we continue our relentless quest to bring the best to our patients through world-class research, practice management, and education. Onward and upward. Thank you for your kind attention.